Hi, thank you for joining me today. I am Jackie Horton, your virtual wellness and health specialist. I'm here to promote wellness and good health.
Hi, and welcome to Mental Health Monday. I am Jackie Horton. And thank you again for coming, subscribing, hitting the like button, giving me some feedback, all that good stuff. So for Mental Health Monday today, Monday is kind of like a day where people either feel really sad that the weekend has ended, or it's the beginning of an opportunity to start a new, weekday with anticipation to reach one's goals. So for Mental Health Monday today, I am going to talk about something that I've been working on with a few couples. And I want to give a shout out to all the couples that I'm working with. You are doing some really good work on communication, reconnecting, transparency, asking hard questions, talking about difficult challenges that have increased over the years in the relationship. So I had a gentleman to ask me, hey, Jacqueline, how come, women bait you into a relationship, and then once you're there, you're settled, you're in a good space, there's a switch that takes place, a switch in her behavior, what she once did no longer does, and she's not doing it to the same degree, and almost feels like it's an obligation, obviously, which take the energy, the excitement out of the guy, when he feels like you're doing things like cooking, having more time together intimately, and you feel like, okay, let me just do this so he can just stop talking. And so with that type of attitude, it's picked up. I mean, it's not like you have to say it. People know when people don't want to do something, but they're doing it anyway. And so I had to think about that, because I was going like, oh, I don't think only women do that. I think it happens with anybody. But I get the sense that most of the time people feel like it's mostly the women that baits the person, the man, into the relationship and then switches. And, without getting into layers of, communication issues, intimacy issues, somebody, is depressed too much or things like that, I do want to kind of open the discussion up around that and hear what other people think. When I'm working with couples, I always try to talk about when did they start to notice that, hey, they wanted to be together. And most of my couples are married couples. And what was that like? And usually I get a smile as they both reminisce on, how they came together and how they became one. And I sometimes even ask, do you still like each other? It really boils down to that too. Like, do you like being with each other, around each other, enjoying each other? But going back to the bait and switch, if people are feeling like they were baited for something and then the switch took place, how do you work through that? Because obviously we cannot go back in time and be younger and, more energetic and so forth. But what can we do to preserve what's nice about our relationship in order to not lead us to more detachment and disconnection? And I like to say, once you stop looking inward at each other and start going outward and outward and outward, it usually leads to other problems, not only for your marriage, but also for you internally. Even if what you're leading away from and into may be pleasurable for a moment, but it does, in a way, impact your psychology and your psychological well-being, your interactions not only with your spouse and your significant other, but also with the people around you, because you're divesting here, investing somewhere else what only you can invest in. So the bait and switch. Is it intentional? Is it a form of manipulation? Is it, is it only one-sided, where maybe you be led by the woman? A lot of questions that I probe to ask people about, to think about. And when I probe more to ask them and they answer, it sort of gives me an idea where we need to work in the beginning. Because everybody has to have a place where they have space to say something. and about their feelings, about what they're thinking, and it not be used to later be retaliated against. And so, thinking about the bait and switch, I want you to think about it too. It is, something that's, that's both a good and also a not good, because, baiting, B-A-I-T, you are enticing something to draw to you because you're attracted to it, and, you want the attention. And baiting is also, can be seen as an annoying characteristic of, taunting. Like, yeah, they baited them to fight, or they baited them to argue by saying things like, men are always this, or women are always that. So it is, a verb that's used in both contexts. One of the things with baiting, in that context, is that when there's already division and disconnection in a relationship, one or the other makes a comment that baits the other into the argument and into the disagreement, because they're so fueled with frustration, right? And when I do couples work, I do really listen for those statements that would bait a person into a place where he or she is just fighting, fighting for their respect, fighting for their space, fighting for, how the situation made them feel, and fighting for, just to stay, to preserve oneself, mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. And so I do look at baiting in both contexts. Baiting, to entice you, to draw you near, and also baiting to taunt you, to create the disagreement or the fight, or the feelings to be, to allow the feelings to be, expressed. And I do think of it like that too, because if the person is taunting you by baiting you, it's because he or she wants to really discharge these negative feelings, and that they be heard. And so I really am very impressed with couples when they come in and they're ready to do the work, even if it means that I'm asking hard questions like, hey, is this what you still want? And speaking in overall, is there still hope for, you all to return to a place where you both feel protected, supported, and loved? And so couples work is really hard, and it requires both people to come in wanting to do the work, and wanting to understand the other person's, presentation. So if somebody is switching, changing up, or doing something in any relationship, whether it's work-related, child, parent, school, administration, hospital, doctors, usually there's something underlining that needs to be addressed, because all it takes is one aspect of the relationship to change, and the system changes with it. But it does not mean that we can't go back and recover, heal, and revitalize something that's slowly dying. So think about that. I added this little scripture, Lord. I added this piece from this expert relationship person named Joseph Sanson, about, the positive side of baiting. Okay, and let me tell you, men are relationship experts too, on women and on men and all that. So I've been kind of looking at some of the men out here, podcasts, YouTube channels, relationship, discussions. Pretty nice. And then also I added a clip from Dr. Phil, which is pretty negative. I'm just going to tell you now. So, but try to think about baiting and switching, and also think about, your feelings about that. And if you have executed or behaved in such a way where maybe you were being baited, or maybe you were baiting, and maybe things switch, and how did that pan out for you? So Monday, I'm playing the Mamas and the Papas Monday, first day of the week, the first day after the weekend, and everybody has their own feelings around Monday. So try not to get caught up in the bait and switch mode, because it can certainly lead to something nice, and it can also lead to something that you don't want. Thank you for joining me today. Take care of yourself. Give yourself a hug. Bye.